this guy's hilarious. He gets out there in a bumblebee suit and jumps up and down. Hey, get out here, buy my bikes.
Hello, and welcome to yet another main show here at the Rag Company Podcast YouTube channel. So Levi, today we got a pretty special guest.
I'm excited.
I want people to hopefully take something new from this, that maybe they've seen this person do other interviews before and they thought, I know the story. But I feel like we got some new insights.
Yeah. I think so.
Some new stuff out.
One of the things I do like, Dane, is what most people don't know is we've got an upcoming video.
Yeah.
That will be available as they're hearing this. Should be out and about. Or sometime in the future,
soon-ish.
Where we're going to be doing another interview with this, but a garage tour, if you will.
Okay.
Very exciting stuff. But I was going to say, on that tour, there's an item that I was amazed to see. I always heard, watching the old videos of our guest, Adam Pitale. He's a big bike guy.
Yeah.
Loves bikes. He's
big
got
bike guy.
Do you remember we used to joke back in the day about our, that Adam did that one video where he rode his bike through the whole warehouse.
Yeah.
And I had tandems and how we said it'd be hilarious if we were riding a tandem through and doing our own version of that video. But it's real. Adam is a huge bike nut and loves bicycles, collects bicycles, all that stuff. And then it got, I get in that whole, I collect bicycles.
Yeah, well, it speaks to your knowledge from having been in a shop for a long time, all those things. You got a pretty heavy background there too, so it gave you guys something to kind of bounce off.
Yeah, it was super cool. I was telling Dane earlier that I got my bike up for sale, one of my mountain bikes, because I've added 2 bikes to the stable in the last few months. And so this bike isn't getting ridden as much. I need to get rid of it. But I also want to either buy another bike to replace it, or put a little more money into some of the other bikes that I have. And
consolidate a little bit.
Yeah, maybe I want to update, do some things like on this old vintage bike that I've been building. I want to put a rear rack on it, but I got to can't just put any rear rack on it, Dane. I got to find a patinaed rack.
It's got to match
fit.
The aesthetic.
That's a period correct and patinaed, and those things are like $100.
It's a classic case of I know what I have, no low ballers.
Dude, it's crazy. I never thought the vintage bike parts that are beat to hell would bring that premium, but it's
this rusty piece of metal is worth $200.
Oh no, but it does, because it's surprising how much value there is, just like in anything, in old cars and old
the commenter who pops in below this video and automatically says the value is whatever someone's willing to pay for it. Right? I'm sorry, but there are exceptions at a certain point. I would argue I'll be that guy.
But you got an e-bike. You were saying that's like you've enjoyed that.
I got those Aventons, I believe they're called. I admit I'm not the biggest bike nerd. I don't know all this stuff, so I trust Levi when he tells me if a bike is good or not. I absolutely love using it, and frankly, if not for the e-bike aspect, I think I'd be a lot worse about going for a ride. But because of the
fun,
the little, just like the mental security I get from that, it's a psychological thing. It's
I
ride
got the
far
pedal
away from
assist
home
too.
Then I can do the pedal assist thing. And for me, it's just hills. Hills were the death of me on a regular bicycle. I can go all the way down the gears. And as a kid, I could do it. But hey, in my current shape, I'll be honest, I'm 295 pounds. I am not I'm in the worst shape of my life, but I'll still ride a bike.
Even when I was in prime cycling shape, and I was 145 pounds and skinny and lean and lived on bagels and bananas,
bean stuff,
and I could ride, I hated climbing.
Sure.
It's my number one thing. I hated climbing.
But for me, riding a bike, I like the wind in your hair sensation of riding a bike. But for me, just because of how I'm wired, and I'm more of a architecture nerd, or I like going and exploring neighborhoods, stuff like that.
You want to enjoy
I will ride around the North End or in the Boise Heights or like over kind of towards like Starlight and stuff over on the Mesa. Like I like riding over those areas. And what do they all have in common? Hills.
That's true.
I got to contend with hills. If I want to ride to those places, I'm going to be dealing with some sort of grade. So it's just something you got to accept if you want to ride the places I want to ride.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is something I've come to terms with. But with an e-bike, I've kind of gotten more of that confidence to go out and just do it anyway.
Nice.
And if I have to walk a bike up a hill, I will. But more often than not, I find I can ride them. So it's pretty cool. I just like that it's opened up opportunities to me. Even in my current state, which I hope doesn't last forever. It shouldn't last forever. I gotta get better.
Well, sweet. I'm excited for listeners. I'm excited for folks to be able to hear this and be able to enjoy this story because it's a very unique story and it's a bookend to one of our other episodes.
The first episode, the
with
Dylan one.
Yeah. So I think you guys are going to really like it. And so, Dane, do you want to take us there?
Yeah, absolutely. So, guys, please, if you hadn't hit like yet, hit it. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you're subscribed. And with that said, let's kick it over and see what Adam Pitale has to say. Hello, 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 and welcome to yet another main show here at the TRC Podcast. And, well, we've got something special for you today. And it's not just the laughter behind the scenes that's going on right now. No, it extends much further than that. It extends to the chair right next to me, holding none other than Adam Pitale of Adam's Polishes. Welcome, Adam.
Thank you, Dane. Welcome back.
We're happy to have you here. It is fun to have you in the studio. We've done some videos with you recently, had some fun out there. You and Anthony gave each other a little bit of a hard time, which is always fun to watch.
Yeah,
we like that.
But today's about you. You know, not to stroke the ego too much, but you know, it's just one of those things where we want to dive into the world of Adam and see what makes you tick.
The history, the how you started, where you got going. I mean, this is Adam's podcast. This is what we're doing. We're literally just want to know everything we can about you.
It's Adam Day.
You guys didn't tell me that when you asked me to come on. I thought we were just going to hang out.
We just sprung this on you. Not to put any pressure on you or anything, but
no, we are going to talk about detailing, and we're going to talk about where you started, how you got started. You know, you and I have talked a number of times, and this is just something that it's such a fascinating story of where you started and where you are now and how you developed everything, how you got to where you are. And that's what the folks and listeners want to hear. Plus, we got a taste of that in the Dylan Von Kleiss podcast.
Yeah, the first episode.
And he gave us just a taste. And so we need to hear it, you know, from the horse's mouth, as you will.
Yeah.
We need to hear it from you.
I want to hear about that open air market, the kind of flea market setup, swap meet stuff. Was it the Costa Mesa one?
Yeah, or Orange County swap meet.
Why don't we start first with like your origins as a human being, as a person, as a kid? Were you into detailing as early as that, or cars maybe?
Yeah. Well, first, just to give Dylan some high props.
Sure.
Dylan was a critical piece of our business as we were coming out of out of nowhere's land, and he just came by the swap meet, and I met him, and he was super into. He had the SS, the all-wheel drive SS
Trailblazer, or the SS truck.
He had the SS truck first, then the Trailblazer. I'm pretty sure that was the order. Because I think the truck was a 03 and the SS was an 06. I think was the years that they did those. Anyway, so he geeks out on detailing so hard. And he's an extremely articulate guy, really articulate. So he was working for Avery Dennison, and his dad was in that business too, making labels. And he came out to the spot meet and like, buddy, you are really into this. You're clearly really into this. Maybe we should work together. So he started working with me on the weekends at the swap meet. And then he, became a huge part of our product testing and everything else. And the end of the Dylan working for us was such a bummer for me because we had two guys that were just both adding huge value to the company. And I had to basically pick which one to keep, which guy that we're going to let stay. And the other guy, who I was built in the middle of building as a website, was, we were really in the middle of e-commerce blossoming.
Yeah.
And we had to. So I made the call, and though Dylan, and I know everyone, I mean, I don't want to say I know everyone in this business, but I know a lot of people in the business. And,
yeah, you do.
I know some people. So and when it came time for Dylan to move on, and we had to create something, we found him a pretty neat role with Cyclo polishers. And the owner, Cody Sutherland, is a dear friend. And he's like, Adam, I need a guy like your guy Dylan. And I go, this might work out and it might be great. And then right after that, Rupes bought them.
That's right. Yeah.
So it was like
he basically got to announce that he was working for Rupes.
Yeah, exactly.
Which was huge.
So I think for him, it was a win.
Yeah.
It was really a win because it escalated him to much, not that Adams was small, just that Rupes was bigger.
Yeah.
And his role there was substantial. So
tell us how you started.
I feel like this story's been told too many times. I'm going to bore you guys. I'm boring you, our visitors, our listeners.
People have heard, but I think as you get older, we all get older, but you gain perspective as time goes on, and you maybe learn things you thought were awesome at the time were less awesome now, or vice versa. You're like, oh, I really should have paid more attention to that moment I experienced back then, and I didn't fully embrace what was happening at the time. We all have those things. Not to call it a regret, but just something where you're like, I should have given that a little more attention. Just something.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm sure we all got those. But
I got a lot.
If you got a few of those you want to touch on, by the way,
sure.
As you tell your story, we can kind of get some extra insight maybe you haven't told in other interviews.
Okay. Well, there's definitely been new insights. And the deeper that I am in being a believer, the more I recognize that some of these roadblocks were purposely put there by God to redirect. Because you're walking down this path, you think you're doing all the things. Oh, I'm just working hard. I just grew this business. I'm just such a hardworking guy. I'm just smart and I'm a really good detailer, right? All that stuff. And then you're like, maybe not. Maybe really there was probably a bigger plan than that, and that there was some redirects. But so a lot of kids when they're little, they play sports, right?
Yeah.
Baseball, basketball, football, soccer. Mm-hmm. Soccer was big where I grew up in San Juan Capistrano, California, which is a little tiny town. And I wasn't good at sports. Like, I'm really not good at sports.
Coordination?
Okay. Yeah. The will, the interest.
Sure.
I just, I watch the kids play and I'm like, wow, that's not interesting to me at all.
Was that your parents' input, or was that just you felt peer pressure to be included in something?
When you're little, you just play sports, like you go out on the
just a thing.
Yeah, you go out in recess, right? Mm-hmm. And everyone plays soccer at recess, or you join the soccer team, mm-hmm. and the AYSO, American Youth Soccer Organization. Mm-hmm. Everyone plays soccer, or everyone plays some sport. And for me, it just really, really unpleasant. I really didn't like it, and I wasn't good at it. And then when my parents split up when I was about 9 or 10, and then we had to create 2 households out of 1 household. Mm-hmm. There was just a lot of overhead, and there wasn't enough resources. My mom was a stay-at-home mom that whole time with me and my little brother, little sister. So there wasn't really a lot of resources, and so things were really tight financially. My dad had just started a new career school. He had a vocational college that he had bought out of bankruptcy, so that wasn't throwing off money. Mm-hmm. And he signed up for debt to acquire it. So anyway, we just didn't have money. One year we had a cutout of a Christmas tree made out of wrapping paper, and we stapled it to the wall. So we cut it out of, with scissors. So we just really were pretty tight. And so working became really obvious. Like, okay, we don't have enough resources. Like, if I want shoes or nice shorts or any of that stuff,
got to work for it.
You better work for it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's not really, and I was pretty young to be in that position. I was 10.
Yeah.
So pretty quickly, the easiest thing to do at that age is to get a paper out
Okay.
You can get paper out right now.
Mm-hmm.
So the Orange County Register was the local newspaper, and right across the street from our house, which we ended up selling to get a much smaller house, there was apartments, just apartment buildings for as far as you could see. So high density, and people were really getting, a lot of those people were getting the Orange County Register. Remember, this is 1980 or 81, so this is way before the internet or any other deliverable news. So I got a paper out, and I started throwing papers, and then I did a pretty good job, and I showed up all the time. So then I decided I could probably do more of this.
Yeah.
So I got so I did a before school route, and then I got an after school route.
Okay.
And basically what I could do is make like 3 hours before school. So I would, start at like 6. You get the papers.
Yep.
They come.
Bundle them.
Yeah, you got to bundle them. You got to rubber band them.
Yeah. My paper route was literally on the other side of this fence over here.
Yeah, you know the deal. Rainy days, you got to bag them.
Yep.
So we did that, and it was good. And I realized something, and this is like, when I say like, what do you get out of a paper route, right? What do you learn? And looking back, I learned that I had a couple people, but this one lady always came out to get her paper. And she came out as soon as she heard it smack the front doorstep. She came out, and she always had her hair like in curlers and like wrapped in something and in a robe. And when I first started, I was taught by the guys, you throw the papers from your bike and just throw them and go, and throw and go and throw and go and throw and go. And but if I ever missed the front porch, she would have to go outside and dig around in the bushes and look for it.
Yeah.
And I would kind of like, you kind of see just out of the side of your eye that she's out there. And of course, you're doing it every day. And so every day you see this, and you start to recognize every day that she's out there. And when she's struggling and trying to find a paper, maybe she's got a cup of coffee in her hand or something. And I watch her struggle a couple of times. And I'm like, I'm not doing this right.
So it triggered an empathetic response.
Yeah.
Pretty much right away.
It did. So what I did is, the next time I delivered to her, she had the screen door that you'd open, and then inside was her front door. So I would open her screen door. I would lean the paper up against her door so that when she opened the door, the paper would just fall into her house.
Mm-hmm.
Like, boom, it's at her feet right there. There's no question. And since I knew that she was the first person that picked up the paper every single morning, I knew that I would probably create a very happy customer. And the Orange County Register, I'll never forget, was $4.75 a month. And I had to do the collecting. You go door to door and you collect.
Yep.
And, you got to get the person.
Yeah, I remember those days.
It's hard because people aren't always home. They're working. This is definitely a very,
if you come back a couple different days.
Yeah. Working class neighborhood. You got to keep on your paper, like, did Mr. Jones pay? Did Mrs. Robinson pay? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So she gave me $10.
Oh, wow.
So most people give me $5. It was like, keep the change, like 25 cents. Wow. Thank you.
Yeah.
Big spender.
Yep.
Like, wow. But she gave me $10. So I started figuring out where to leave my bike and where to park it. Because, you got a really heavy bike because the rear rack on the bike has a bag over it. And then you have a bag over, you have a bag on your chest too.
Yeah.
And so I didn't have to go back to my house repeatedly to reload. I loaded as many papers on the bike as possible.
Okay.
And Saturdays was a little bit bigger paper, and Sundays were huge because all the advertisements and the funnies, everything is huge. So you had to really go back often. But I started figuring out how to, at each house, how I could set my bike in the least amount of time, get off the bike, get up to the door, put the paper up against their door, and get out and get back on my bike and get on, so that it didn't take me hours, because I had to go, be on school on time in the morning, and the same thing in the afternoons. It was very successful. I ended up getting very good tips And that was cool. So I could go to the, basically I'd go to the liquor store after my thing, and I'd buy Now and Laters and play Miss Pac-Man. And I could do it all I wanted because as far as I was concerned, I was rich.
Heck yeah.
I had I had hundreds of dollars, which was a lot. Man. I was kid rich. Yeah. No overhead and hundreds of dollars.
Bam.
So I just realized that by going that little bit of an extra mile, people really responded with gratuity.
They weren't used to it.
They weren't. People didn't go out of their way to do extra good. Mm-hmm. They just kind of just did the minimum to get by. So, and that was I think that was what a gift, and I got to think that was just a gift from God to be able to see that what people want isn't always something that they ask for. Mm-hmm. People don't always express what they want. They don't always tell you what they want. But by watching their response to what you give them, you can learn quite a bit. And so I did. I learned a lot. I really did. And then, again, I found that people were so grateful because no one had ever asked them, do you want your paper on your front doorstep? Or do you want it kind of anywhere in the bushes that I can maybe do it? Remember, I'm not good at sports.
I was going to say, this goes back to the sports.
I didn't have a very good throw, probably, yeah. So anyway, I think that was a gift. And that was the beginning of me as someone who looked for what was missing and tried to deliver it.
Yeah.
It's important to note that you recognize that is where a lot of people may not have.
That's like a core part of you.
Yeah.
That is a core virtue that you have
carried.
You've carried through, right? Because that's what you've built everything else after that based on those few small principles.
You're right. Yeah, I did. And again, what a gift to learn that at, 10 or 11 years old.
Yeah, a lot of 10 and 11-year-olds aren't really thinking in those terms.
I've got a few. I've got at least one of those. No one's thinking like that. But again, I don't think that my kids are never going to think like this because also either gratefully or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, there's no hunger.
Yeah.
My kids can get
we think about
Jordans, these expensive
or just even the gratification of streaming services, music. You think about how hard it was when we would find a song we liked on the radio, and then you would get your tape and you'd get ready to record it, and you'd listen to the radio for 2 hours to wait for that song just so you could record that, because otherwise you had to go pay money to go find it or buy it if you wanted the music. So you'd record it on the thing. Where my kids, they just search on my phone because my wife and I pay for Apple Music, and they just pull whatever song, whatever album. Here we go. I'm going to listen to this. We're good to go.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to watch. My son the other day was watching TV, and it was a full binge of Simpsons, Bob's Burgers, and I go, man, I can only watch that on a Sunday if I was lucky, if I'd behaved. Could I watch it that one episode on Sunday that came out?
Yeah.
There's no stopping it. There's no pausing it. There's no, I'll come back to it later. So there's no want or need anymore because it's just fulfilled. So where do you create that want or that need in your children? And with me, I noticed Augie loves money.
He's motivated.
He's motivated by cash.
Simple thing, green.
Good for him.
So mowing lawns, which is what I did. So
you know what you did right? You made money scarce to him.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I just don't have a lot of money to give to him all the time. But
listen, but consider, whether or not you're just getting by or tremendously wealthy,
it's making it scarce.
In America, we can all spoil our kids.
100%.
Pretty much. There's you can pretty much all spoil our kids.
Yeah, but exactly.
And you made money scarce, which is wonderful.
That's true.
Hats off to you, because I think that's something that we need to work on really with our kids. Is I grew up, and I'm an old dad, right? My wife is 13 years younger than I am. We started having kids, well into my 30s and 40s. And so I was pretty established, and I started really young in business too. So I had a head start in business. Sure. And then by the time I had kids, we weren't missing any meals.
Yeah. Right.
But when I was a kid, the best bike was only mine if I earned it.
Yeah.
Right.
My kids are like, we got extra Yeti carbon fiber mountain bikes laying around, and they just took one to camp, and it was like, you just took an extra Yeti carbon fiber $3,000 bike to camp,
laying around kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I get the logic of how we ended up there, because a lot of people did, like, it was always the goal. I want my kids to do better than I ever did. I want to provide. I want to do these things. There are consequences and repercussions to that, though, where, like you said, you lose that hunger. You don't have the same drive. And that's not to go down a whole kids these days argument, but it's just, it's cause and effect, right?
It's true. It's so true. So it's interesting, parenting is enormously more difficult than business. Business, you can make some pretty good decisions and end up in a pretty good situation pretty easily. Parenting requires way more.
Yeah.
Way more than that.
Don't screw up.
Yeah, that's a lot more work, God's grace.
Well, so one thing I've done now is I've got Augie helping when I do cars on the weekends. And I've been paying him for that help. I need to do wheels. I need to do tires. I need you to do this wipe down. I need you to start working on door jams. I need you to help me do windows. Like, trying to get him, one, he's hungry for money. So he's getting the money because he's doing that. But two, it's caused a necessity where he's asked me, do you need help with this car this weekend?
Awesome.
Is there something I can do for you?
How old is he?
He's the same age as Enzo. It's 11.
Too bad we can't hire him at the car wash down the street.
But it's one of those that he, like, I see, okay, it's the money, the aspect of getting money that he can go spend.
What does he like to buy?
Right now, it's a Roblox not Roblox, Fortnite cards.
Yeah.
So that he can buy skins and stuff on that. Yeah. And so that's where and he likes having just money to buy snacks and candy and toys and things like that. So especially during the school year, that's his morning stop at the Jacksons and grab me a bag of chips or something. That's his jam. So
you learned that somewhere.
I know, exactly. That was my jam. I'll tell you what, after going throwing papers, I always bought Banana Now and Laters.
Yeah.
Played 5 or 6 games of Miss Pac-Man.
Yeah.
A little bit of Tron. A little bit of Galaga. Had it. I was perfectly financially capable to do that stuff.
So once you aged out of paper routes, what happened after that?
It was pretty there. Pretty quick after doing the paper routes. My mom started dating this guy who was a cyclist, and she got a job in Irvine, and she went to work for a company called Allergan Pharmaceuticals, a big pharmaceutical company. Then not as big, but still big. And this guy, Mike Garst, just a super neat guy, he said, hey, I'm doing this ride. And anyway, he did this ride, and the bike the bike was ridden in the rain. And talk about a dirty, just like you drive your car in the rain. It's just filthy at the end of it, right? So the leather toe straps became really crispy and hard. Back then, toe straps were all leather. Yeah. Yep. Stainless steel clips. Leather straps. So he had laid the bike down. I think there was some handlebar tape scuffed, whether he just set it down or crashed or was a little bit beat up. And then all the aluminum was really dirty. And remember, this is back when the bikes were like I forget, it was an Italian bike, like Pinarello or Colinago, something, Eddie Merckx, like all these awesome bikes that were, but all the Campagnolo components,
stainless and aluminum,
and polished aluminum, and the wheels are polished aluminum.
Yeah.
So the black from the brake pads on the wheels had just bled all over the wheels and just gotten really gross because of the water and the rain,
Sure.
So, and I love bicycles, and I went ahead, and while his bike was at our house, and I want this guy to want my mom because my mom's like all sad from this divorce, and she'd been single forever. So I take his bike, and it's sitting at our house for a while. So I went ahead and I detailed it, and I just went after it, and I really cleaned the snot out of that bike. I pulled the chain off and gasoline soaked it and scrubbed it and polished the wheels. I had the mother's aluminum, polish and the paste, and I polished all the components, the cranks, polished up amazing. This is what, and I'm like going, this is amazing.
Where did you learn to do these things? Was it just intuition, or was it you saw somebody do it once and you were mimicking that? Or
we had the stuff in the garage. My dad, had a few things, but I just really liked cleaning.
Mechanical enough. You could.
Yeah. And, I always helped wash the car, wash the car. I always helped do that. And so we just had a few things in the house, not like nowhere near the radical collection of cool car care stuff that there is in this place or in my place, but just the basics.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I think that the metal polish was used on pots and pans in our house. I'm not mistaken. I think it was like Brasso.
Yeah.
And then they had gone up to the mothers, and I was like, oh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
So I cleaned his bike, and he was blown away. And what I didn't know was that he was a member of a 150-person cycling team at Allergan Pharmaceuticals.
Oh, wow.
So all the doctors, he's a doctor, all the doctors that are the drug doctors tended to ride together.
Yeah.
And there was just a neat group of people that were very consistent in riding.
Yeah.
So he went back and said, "You won't believe what this kid did for me. Look at my bike.
Yeah.
Look at my bike." This guy.
Yeah, and they've probably done all the same miles on their bike.
Yeah.
With
Oh,
him.
yeah.
They're like,
Yeah, they're
Looking equally terrible.
together. So anyway, I ended up with he told everyone. And then my mom took this little ad out of the Yellow Pages and put it in the copier, a picture of a bicycle, and created this ad for me, Adam's Bicycle Repair and Cleaning. And there was a half sheet of yellow paper, and I have it in my man cave.
That.
You saw that. And she put them all over the corkboard. So back at that point, that was how to get the word out for things that, Girl Scout cookies. You put a thing up on the corkboard. Girl Scout cookies are going to be here. Well, Adam's Bicycle Repair and Cleaning. So my mom's got a Volvo station wagon, and now she's bringing home
bicycles.
1 bike a day, 2 bikes a day, 3 bikes a day. And people want their handlebars retaped. They want the derailleurs, they don't like the way the derailleur cables are routed, or shifting the brakes. So I would just do a thing. And the guy who owned the local bike shop, his name's Jim Kerwood, and he still has a bike shop today. It's called Buy My Bikes in Southern California, in San Juan Capistrano. It used to be called South County Cyclery. And when I was that age, Jim would let me come in and stuff that I needed. He knew that I was working my butt off. He would let me assemble a new bike out of the box instead of paying him. So he was a Fuji dealer, Fuji bicycles. Yeah. And he's like, "Hey, what do you need there today?" I'm like, "I need these pedals. I want this new cool," like I loved respoking my wheels. I'd love to change the spokes out. I would do black, gold, and then all the nipples on the spokes, I would go the opposent color just to make this is the coolest thing in the world. Restring wheel is so contrast. Cool. I go in there, I want all spokes, but I want 48 gold and 48 black, and I want to do every other spoke, and I'm going to do stuff. And he's like, "All right, well, how much is that?" It's like, whatever, $30 or whatever. He's like, "Or why don't you build those 2 bikes for me right now?" So I got cool photos of me in there building bikes for him. And it was just that was pretty cool. And then when I was doing all these bikes for my mom's, all of the people that worked for her at her work, I go in there and I need handlebar tape. I need tubes. I need derailleur cables. I need brake cables. I need brake pads. And I just go in there with my list, and he'd be like, "Great, do that bike.
Yeah.
Build that one." And he gave me all the bikes with 5 speed, and then worked my way up to 10 speeds and 18 speeds, and full touring bikes at 21 speeds. So it was pretty cool. So I'd just get better and better and better at it, and he'd help me. He always called me Gherkin. "You Gherkin, what are you doing? Why aren't you adjusting these right?" And he'd laugh at me and he'd teach me how to do it. So I'd go to school at South County Cyclery and learn bikes.
Yeah, that's super rad.
and get stuff for free. So I would get the total for what the parts were. It's $12 for parts. I'd go back to the guy with the bike and say, "Hey, you owe me $12 for the parts, and $18 for the service." And anyway, it was a pretty, but you see how looking back, I look back and I talk about it like no big deal. I'm just a genius, but I mean, what are the chances of just having a guy
that wanted to that was cool enough to let you as a teenager to just work and build on the bikes and do all that stuff for him, but then willing to trade out stuff and teach you at the same time,
and to be living there in that zip code, and to be having access to those customers And then all that stuff, it's like God's grace. It's all God's grace. You can't even sit there and say, oh yeah, I just really worked hard. I'm just really awesome. Yeah, I'm just
there's
just
always
a really super businessman.
There's
No,
always
I'm
a
not.
degree of like an invisible hand or luck or some other thing playing a role in those moments where it's like, no matter how good you may think you are, there's still got to be that other it factor, something there to help give you that extra push that would separate you from maybe other people in a similar position.
Sure.
Because not everybody's going to have the same experience you had.
You know, it's funny. People didn't even do like mobile bicycle repair until we lived in Boulder, Colorado for 15 years. And I think it started there. And all of a sudden you see these vans, like Sprinter vans, and they had that, you know, that was going all over the place. And that was something that came later. But I mean, there was no one doing what I was doing. No one was doing that. So that the bicycle repair and cleaning was really a good business. You know, I could do it all after in the nights. I didn't need daytime. So I could, after the paper route, I could throw the papers, and then I could go ahead and do these bikes. And it's pretty, you know, made some money, made some money. It was fun. And I enjoy it. I love bikes. You know, today I've got a crazy collection of old bikes. I love them. I love old bikes. So that was it. And it was just, again, what a gift to be in that zip code, to have Jim Kerwood there, who's Buy My Bikes. By the way, look up Buy My Bikes in San Juan Capistrano, California. This guy's hilarious. He gets out there in a bumblebee suit and jumps up and down. Hey, get down here, buy my bikes. He's so crazy. He's total surfer guy. He's so fun. He's been in business. I think he was in business for like 2 years when I started. So I bet he's been in business since 1983.
Wow.
So Adam, you've been doing the bikes for a minute. That's all going on. But how do we find ourselves at the swap meet? What transpired to get you from one to the other?
Shiny stuff.
Okay. I heard Dylan mention this stuff.
Yeah,
he brought up a lot of shiny stuff. Stuff.
Yeah.
All the dirt stuff.
My dad in 1978 or 79 bought the world's worst Porsche. And I think that still today it probably holds the title as the world's worst Porsche, which is the Porsche 924.
Okay. I was about to say, was it a 924?
Yes, it was. Sepia, which is today a very cool color. But back then, I guess it was a cool color then too. Sepia is like, you know, chocolatey brown, milk chocolate.
Yeah.
And this car had the transaxle go out on it with like very, very low miles.
Yeah.
So he was at the Porsche dealership constantly trying to figure out, you know, what am I going to do for this? He's getting a rental car. They give him like an Audi or a Volkswagen rental car. So anyway, I'm at the thing and there's this guy there, Dave Herbert.
Okay.
And he is demonstrating shiny stuff. And he's on a Bertone X19. Remember the Fiat X19? Yeah. And then Bertone in the early 80s. They stopped importing it in like, I don't know, mid 70s or late 70s.
Fiat took over.
Fiat, yeah. So Bertone was the brand after Fiat was basically.
They were the designer.
They were the designer, but they were the maker because Fiat was not allowed to be imported into the U.S. because their cars were so.
Sorry, we're garbage.
Well, they were bad, but they didn't like they didn't like all of the smog. You know, the cars responded extremely poorly to the smog requirements. So you take just a normal car, and then you just put all these smog pumps and junk on it, and you know, try to make them run real hot so it'll burn off all the emissions.
Yeah.
Well, that makes the engines not last as long.
California was just coming around on CARB and that kind of thing, so they were especially stringent compared to the rest of the country.
They were. Anyway, on a side note. Dave was out there doing a demonstration, and he takes this bar of road tar, rubs it on the car. Ooh. He lights it on fire. He throws some cigarette lighter fluid, so a little yellow Zippo refillers.
Yeah,
squirts it on the car. Boom, lights it. So now it's burning on there, and then after it turns off, he spray paints over it. That's right. You drive through road tar. You drive through, fresh paint on the roads. No problem. Boom. He takes this real stuff out, and he's using diapers.
Oh yeah.
You know, because diapers before there's microfiber, there was no like nice
fanciest of the fanciest right there,
as good as it got. So anyway, so he's out there rubbing it in, rubbing it off, and I'm watching him do this, and I'm like, wow, this guy's good. You know, he's pretty into it. And I'm watching him, and so I buy some dirt shiny stuff, and then this dirt shiny stuff, this glaze, So it's totally clear, and it was called. So the company that he basically knocked off was Bullet Wax, Bolit. Bullet Wax was a German company, and they had given or sold the rights to sell bullet wax in the United States to one person. And then that person was selling to other distributors all over. And then that person, for whatever reason, cut off all the distributors and said, we'll take over now, thanks. So then David already had a decent number of customers. And he was out there selling wax. He was a Marines veteran, and he was just doing this. He loved this. And he also was into remote control airplanes. And he's still out there. Night Flyer, Nite Flyer is his handle on YouTube. And he's constantly putting videos up. This guy's amazing. He's super interesting. So anyway, so I'm looking at him like, yeah, this is great. I'm asking all these questions. You know, I think I was probably 12 maybe-ish by then. And I'm like, yeah, this is great. This dirt shiny stuff is like this glaze. Goes on, comes off so easy. You can put on a boiling hot car. You can do the glass. You do chrome. It's just like, wow, this stuff is amazing. And today we make a rendition of that called Brilliant Glaze.
Okay.
So our
Dylan did mention something along those lines.
Yeah. So we still
kind of idea that carried over.
Briefly, we called it Adam's Brilliance, which was an oxymoron. So we stopped it immediately. I said, no, not Adam's Brilliance. So anyway, so I started buying his stuff, and really it was great for detailing bikes. Really easy on, easy off, and it was really good.
Yeah.
And right at about this same time, I started detailing my next door neighbors. My next door neighbor had a brand new truck.
Okay.
It's like an 82-ish Toyota truck. And it was just a long bed, 2-wheel drive, SR5, yellow with brown interior.
Oh, classic.
He came home with it and parked it in his driveway. And I was like, oh, that's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And he saw me out there helping wash my dad's old Porsche. And he's like, hey, Adam, you want to wash my new pickup? And I'm like, oh, yes. It's like you can't even imagine how much I want to. I sat inside of it. I smelled that. And I was like, this is the greatest smell. New Toyota vinyl is probably still today the most glorious smell I've ever smelled in my life. It was amazing. It's like puppy breath, that wonderful smell that you never get sick of. Anyway, this thing was amazing. So I started washing his car. And then his wife had the new Toyota Cressida that had just come out too, like early 80s. So washed her car. $5.
Yeah.
Armor all the tires and, spent some time really thoroughly cleaning the wheels. Simple Green was always my thing for cleaning wheels. So anyway, we had a little business going, and the next door neighbors to them were like, hey, you interested in this? Well, as soon as my dad and mom got divorced, basically what had happened was they both needed smaller places. So they both went into like townhouses or apartments.
Yeah.
So that was really good for business because now I
concentrated group,
tons of more customers.
Yeah.
People who don't have garages and probably need the maintenance done other ways.
Amen. So it was really helpful that, again, God's grace. It was just such a lucky deal. So started washing all the cars in the neighborhood, washing the next cars in the next neighborhood, and washing and waxing the cars. People wanted more and more stuff done, and the weekly, and I got on the monthly program where people would pay me once a month, and I'd do 4 washes, and then a monthly 3 washes, and then a monthly mini detail.
So you're doing maintenance plans back then. That's
maintenance plans,
yeah.
$25 a month would get you 3 washes and a wash and wax. It was great. So the business was going pretty good, and it was less. I ended up being like, you know what, this whole bicycle thing, I like it, but I became pretty tired because every day after school I'd come home and wash and wax cars, and then all day Saturday, all day Sunday I'd do the same. So I kind of didn't want to do that. I didn't really want to do bikes anymore because I was just tired. I was a little bit tired, and I've never been a tremendously good student, but that wasn't helping my homework either. Oh. So I needed to do a little bit of homework and make sure that I stayed without flunking out of school. So that's when I said, okay, enough of the bikes. And I think that was right when my mom decided to go to school full time, and she got her PhD and became an audiologist. But so that dried up the bike deal dried up. The cars just came on strong, and I'm using dirt shiny stuff a lot.
Okay, yeah.
And by the time I'm about 14, I meet this guy, John Hodge, who lived in the next neighborhood over, and he had a red Volkswagen Bug. He'd always drive by. He'd always drive by and slow down and
see what you're doing.
What are you doing? Like I always have a different car in my driveway. And here's the craziest thing. My customers will let me drive their cars from their house to my house. Like as much as, I mean, not a half a mile, but maybe a third of a mile away.
But still.
They had total trust in me.
Yeah.
I always brought their car back clean. And a lot of times I would drive one of our cars down there.
Nice.
So I'm 12, 13, right?
Yeah.
And my dad had a 65 Mustang at this point. And it was rougher than a night in jail. Like really bad, but clean. And so I'd drive that down there and jump in their car and drive their car back to my place. So I had a ride back. But otherwise, I would just ride my bike sometimes too.
Yeah.
That business kept going, and the dirt shiny stuff was my product of choice. John Hodge came along, and he's like, "Hey, I'm working at the pizza place. If you ever want a pizza, come by and see me." And he was like 2 years older than me. He's like, "By the way, will you teach me how to wash my car?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's do it." So we had a Volkswagen Bug. We ended up lowering the front up for him because it was just the bugs look horrible if they're not lowered. Anyway, so we did that, and he became my basically my little partner, and we were able to do mobile detailing now. So we put the vacuum in the back of the Bug, and put all the towels and the chemicals, everything in the front, in the front, and we drive around and start doing mobile detailing. That was pretty cool. So now we can do outside of our immediate area.
Out of a classic Bug. That's
out of a classic Bug, yeah. Yeah, 71, 72, it had the big bumpers, big lights. So anyway, it was a pretty cool deal. So that business kept going and going, and by the time I turned 16, I'd been able to pull off getting a van. Oh, and this was right when minivans started. So the Mitsubishi van, and we called it the Toaster. Have you ever seen a Mitsubishi van? Yeah, we called it the Lisa or something like that. Delica.
Toyota had the Town Ace.
Yeah,
I had one of those for a little while. So I know.
Well, they were being made for other countries a lot, and they were really popular. However,
weren't coming to the U.S.
They weren't. Much. Yeah, and they came finally to the U.S. in 2-wheel drive versions, and all the other countries got 4-wheel drive versions.
Cali spec.
That's right. So anyway, so I had a van, and what really changed the detailing business, which really got it. I was doing so many individual cars, but realizing in Southern California that driving from house to house was quite a penalty. A lot of time spent driving.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at these guys who have fleets, and I'm thinking, what fleets need to be cleaned a lot, like really regularly? And this is the 86, 87 limousines, right? Limousines are really, you got to clean them a lot, and most of them are black, black or white. And I'm looking at these white limousines driving around, and I think I got the idea. We had the homecoming dance or something like that, and this white limo pulled right in front of the school. I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at this top that's like tinged in brown, and all the vinyl grain just looked really nasty. I'm like, someone's not loving this. And the wheel, they put this. These are Town & Countries.
Yeah.
The Lincoln.
Oh, town cars. Yeah.
Town car. Lincoln Town car. So the wheels are spoked wheel covers.
Yeah.
They weren't looking good. They weren't cleaned well.
Because it's hard to clean if you don't know what you're doing.
The white walls didn't look good. I was just like, man, I think that I could do better.
Yeah.
So I went and found the first one, and it was called Lake Forest Limousine. And the guy that owned it is a guy named Randy Tooker. And Randy gave me a shot. I said, I'm here to detail one of your limousines. I'll detail the worst one. Just whatever you want. And he's like, kid, thanks, but I got a lot of money tied up in these limousines. And I go, listen, can I show you my van? Can I show you all the stuff that I have? Can I show you the products that I'm using? Can I explain that I've been doing this?
Show you who I am.
Yeah. I'm 16. I know I'm only 16, but I've actually been doing this for 5 or 6 years now. And he's like, what? Yeah. I just don't really believe that. I don't really.
Some punk kid comes up and tries to sell me on this.
And he had just had a baby, or he's about to have a baby. And he was like, okay, listen, I don't have time to wash my limos. And he did it himself a lot of times.
Okay.
So he said, fine, kid, go ahead.
Yeah.
Do it. So he let me do a limo, and he came back and he was stoked. He was like, wow, that's amazing. Like you really
didn't know it could be that.
Didn't explain. Yeah, I mean, there's white walls were like really white, and the wheels, the wire wheel covers were really clean. And I just went far. I really went far to make sure it was nice. And anyway, so he was stoked, and he hired me, and he had a whole bunch of limousines, and I was at his place all the time. And as soon as I got his limousines all dialed so that they were on my regular schedule, I realized I could add another one. So I went to another limousine company that did one for free, and I got that limousine company. And I ended up going to 5 different limousine companies, and I got all but one. This one guy was like super shyster. He was using the limousine for like I don't know. I think he was like a front for some.
It felt a little
clandestine. Kind of real business.
Like, you don't want to make money, do you?
Import export.
Yeah, a lot of powder in the cars. Like, whoa, what's going on here, buddy? A little dangerous. So I'm using their shiny stuff the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
I keep detailing through high school, graduate high school. I go to college. My college roommate, it was just the total, again, talk about a blessing from God. My college roommate, my fraternity brother, Matt Dugali Oberfeld is the name of this company. And Matt Dugali's dad, Alec Dugali, is this amazing world-class architect who designs houses for the who's who of the world. So when we were in college, they were building Sylvester Stallone's house, Gina Davis's house. They were building all these houses.
Yeah.
And Matt is on their site being like, their cars are dirty. Adam, you should come with me because all Sly's cars, calls them Sly, all Sly's cars are dirty.
Yeah.
Like, you need to be, this guy needs your business. You got to be, I'm like, done. So boom, I go meet Sly. He's one of the coolest cucumbers guy. I mean, Sly is cool and chill. He was married at that point recently to Jennifer Flavin, who was like, some hot model, I think, and something. She was great. So detailed his car, and I got great stories about that. He always smoked cigars with all the windows closed. He had the windshield tinted and all the windows tinted, and he had to smoke cigars. And if you opened the sunroof, people would see him. And driving around LA, people would like go, the drive like not knowing that they're just so starstruck, and his face was such a he's one of the big ones.
Yeah.
So he'd be like, he told me something that was so interesting. I go, Sly, why don't you just crack the sunroof? Just crack the sunroof. Just because I have to put this ozone generator in his car every single week.
Yeah, how much film are you wiping off the windows?
Tons. I had to use dirt shiny stuff on the glass every time to get all that fog off.
Oh boy.
His car has so much stink in it, but he would not stop doing this. And I said, buddy, why don't you just crack the window or crack anything? He's like, as soon as I crack the sunroof, a little bit of sun shines on my face, and everyone can see me. And then I got to answer questions, and everybody wants to talk to me, and I can't just be normal. I want to get in my car. I want to drive around. I want to smoke my cigar, and I don't want to be bothered. And he said something to me I'll never forget. He goes, this famous thing, or this, being famous, or he said something like being famous or a celebrity thing is like a noose. You can't be free. You're always being sought, sought after. Detailing cars again was just a way to meet neat people and doing Sly and Flavin's cars and all these so cool cars,
super cool.
A ton. I mean, and not that I was like somebody. I was the detailer buddy of the your college roommate of
the
somebody.
Orbit.
Yeah. I mean, but not through me being like, I was just so established. No, I just knew a guy.
But that's a moment of perspective too. What he's throwing out there too, because you make assumptions about somebody. Oh, rich, famous, must be great. Everybody recognizes you. It's like at a certain point, you kind of get tired of that. You don't want that all the time. You could be the nicest person, and somebody catches you on that one rough day, and it's just you're painted as that guy.
Totally.
It's a terrible experience to put on anybody, but it's the expectations we put on other people because of what we assume about them.
Yeah. You just think that their world is so different than it really is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, everyone's got it. Everyone's got it. Everyone puts their pants on one pant leg at a time. It doesn't matter what your deal is. Anyway, so detailing kept on going, and after college, I went to USC. My dad's company went bankrupt while I was going to school, so I had to pay for my own college and took on debt and detailed a lot. It was great. So after that, I tried to sell real estate and realized that real estate is definitely not my bag.
Okay.
At least making cold calls. So I worked for Marcus and Millichap in Long Beach, California, right out of college, and they have the full training deal.
Okay.
And they put you in a bullpen, and they give you a folder of names and phone numbers. And this guy owns 9 buildings. This guy owns 4 buildings. This guy owns 1 building. He owns 120
commercial real estate.
Commercial real estate. Yeah. So apartment buildings. So I'm calling apartment buildings. Oh my gosh. And I'm in the middle. This is 1995, 6, 7. So we're in the middle of a recession.
Yeah.
So these guys are pissed. Sure, they can sell their building, but they take a huge hit, and it's not nearly valued as high as it was recently. So I'm calling, Mr. Jones, I see you got some units here. You want to sell your building? Do you know how much my building's worth? Where do you live? I'm so sick of you scumbags calling me. I've had more broker trash calling me. I can't believe that you would. I'm so sorry, sir. I'm so sorry. Click. Next number, call. And I'm like, okay, this is not it. The only money I made in real estate doing that was detailing the broker's cars.
There you go.
And I did. And I'd made some money doing that.
Lesson learned.
Yeah. And I just knew I had to do a change. And again, I don't know why this happened and why it went this way. But when I was a little kid, my dad took us to the swap meet, to the Orange County swap meet. Orange County Marketplace is right in Costa Mesa / Fountain Valley. It's like right on the border, literally on the border between the two. And we'd go there and get olives. And we're Italian, so you get olives and bread and all the cool stuff from the Italian market. And anyway, it ended up, I just decided, you know what? I need to do something different. Dirt Shiny Stuff is still this tiny little company. I've been doing it for,
using it
10 years or more, 12 years, since I was a little kid. So I'm like, I'm going to go see what's going on at the Orange County swap meet. So I go to the swap meet. I'm totally heartbroken about real estate. It's terrible. I'm getting like beaten up, my head chewed off by these guys every day. Every time I make a phone call, these guys are like, want to kill me.
Not great for the psyche.
No. And I'm going out at lunch with the brokers, and we're just getting drunk, like eating hot dogs and getting drunk.
It's like hoping.
Yeah, just barely getting by. I'm like, this is probably not a good lifestyle. Yeah. Probably not. I go walk the whole thing, and there's one guy selling wax, and he's got this whole white, like Chrysler Cordova. He's got it's a dark brown Chrysler Cordova, and he's got white, like the absolute worst kind of paste wax all over it. And I think that was called Race Glaze, if it makes sense. I think that was the company that he was there. Anyway, and as soon as you removed it with a towel, using beach towels, it would just powder everywhere.
Like a dust. Yeah, I remember that style stuff.
You shouldn't demonstrate that, dude. You should just try to sell it as believe me, don't look at it though, because watching it was just painful. So anyway, I saw his setup, and I'm like, I bet I can sell Dirt Shiny Stuff here. Selling products. I go set up a little tiny display at the Orange County swap meet. I get a throw cloth from Home Depot. It's a paint cloth. They're orange and white little paint cloth. I put it on a rental table. I put a bottle each of our Dirt stuff out there, and I'm trying to demonstrate like Dave did by lighting things on fire. I put the spray paint, road tar, get some lighter fluid, light it on fire, and boy, did people stop. They stopped.
I mean, you're setting a car on fire. It's going to get attention.
I'm setting the car on fire, and Dave came out with me.
Nice.
And he came out with me and did weekends with me. And we had so much fun, and the business grew. But what I figured out almost immediately is that you sell someone a bottle of polish, but they don't have the applicator to put it on. And they don't have the towel to remove it. You go into the auto parts stores, like Adam's Polishes, we're now in every auto parts. We're in Walmart now. I don't know how I feel about that, but it's part of it. But it's just a giant outlet, and it's working. Anyway, you go to the wall of confusion, and you don't get a kit. No one sells you the right towel, the right applicator. And I had the ability through this open air marketplace on Saturdays and Sundays. Again, this is God smiling on me, because there's no other way to explain it. I get to interact personally with people all day Saturday and all day Sunday, listening to what they need of their car care. And you couldn't buy that information.
No.
You couldn't buy that education. There was no school teaching that. And I just sat there, and people were like, I am trying to figure out how to get this film off the inside of my windshield. I'm trying to figure out how to get the makeup off of my stereo knobs. I'm trying to figure out how to get the water spots off the, glass. How do I, do this? How do I do that? And I'm like, perfect. Here you go. I got a kit. here's a kit, here's a kit. And we just kept offering kits.
It's like a consumer survey in real time.
A real-time consumer survey. And it was so amazing that, and people asked me for stuff. And then I said, listen, I don't have that answer, but are you going to come back next Saturday? I'll have an answer for you.
Yeah.
And I would have an answer, and I have a product. I bring them like random things that I bought from other companies. Hey, I don't make this. I don't sell it, but I found it. Here it goes. It was $11. Here, awesome. give me $11. People are like, their mind was blown. They're so stoked. And then what the thing was, people started realizing when people went home and tried to do stuff on their own, I would tell them everything, but they'd forget.
Mm-hmm.
So I started doing the step-by-step instructions, a sheet as an 8.5 by 14 legal paper. So it was a big, legal sheet, and we had it laminated.
Okay.
So step-by-step instructions on the back, paso a paso instrucciones, because we're in Southern California, and I had lots of Spanish-speaking clients. I speak Spanish, so I grew up, just going to school since, speaking Spanish. So these really helped customers, and it also explained what products they don't have that fixes another problem. So they would use that instruction sheet was a sales tool.
Yeah, because then they could see what the next thing was.
Yeah.
If they were like, oh, I have that. Oh, I know how to get that fixed.
I need this.
Missing a piece.
Oh, there it is. I need that product. Yeah, I need to solve this. So they would they'd buy more. They come back. Hey, I need this, 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 and this. And it's like, well, how do you know you need all that? Like, well, I was reading your instruction sheet. And that became really valuable. Mm-hmm. And then almost immediately, the technology came out for DVDs. And so we filmed, because still you can't read and explain. Like when you're removing polish, you have to keep your hand flat on the towel. When you're using detail spray, you're using glass, if you rub it and you hold it like this and you put bunch your fingers up, your results are really crappy. But when your hand is flat on the towel, you get such good results. And when you're spraying detail spray and you move the bottle while you're spraying and pull the trigger hard, you get a nice fine mist that really covers an area.
Right.
Or where you're putting tire shine on, you spray into the top of the tread block. You don't spray into the sidewall. You definitely don't spray the wheel.
Right.
But by moving the bottle and pulling the trigger pretty firmly, you can really get that
good atomization.
Tire shine to atomize into the tire top. So, but you can't explain that.
This is all nuance that you just pick up through time, but they're not going to know that.
And they can't read it and understand it.
Yeah.
So we filmed our first video. My buddy Mike Wilson, who's just a dear friend, him and his daughter, Ashley Wilson, ended up working for me and doing tons of these swap meets. They ran the swap meet for me. That's when I started taking the trailer and driving to car shows all over the country while they were running the swap meet. Anyway, we filmed this video and we used a Porsche Boxster right when they came out. 96. So early. Okay, so it wasn't that. It was
96, 97.
So this was 2000. 2000 was our video. So it was a little. So
that'd be around the time the 996, 911 was coming out.
Yes,
kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, so we did this. We did this full video and on how to do this stuff, and and we're handing out these DVDs. So I had the DVDs duplicated. So we handed out free DVDs with everything, and that really helped sell.
So smart.
And then people can understand it. And every computer at that point had a DVD drawer.
Yeah,
you could put a DVD in any computer. You go home, you can put it on your computer on your big screen, and you watch it. So the DVD helped educate, and it also helped sell products.
Yeah.
And that swap meet was so incredible for learning. We listened to the customer so well, and we were humbled to get that information. And it was on me to provide that solution.
Sure.
To provide the kit, because everyone needed a kit. They just didn't need a chemical. What do you put the chemical on with? What do you wipe it off with? How does it work? What are you scrubbing the hubcaps with the Simple Green? Talk about a funny thing. Jeff Hyder, he was the director of Simple Green, comes up to me, and we're not selling Simple Green, right? It's available in stores. He goes, so what do you like for cleaning wheels and tires and white walls? And I go, I love Simple Green.
Yeah.
I just love this stuff. I go, it's the best stuff ever. He goes, really? Interesting. What's your address? I gave my address. I am not lying. 2 days later, a truck shows up, backs up, and drops off 2 pallets of Simple Green, this 10-ounce, long, tall, skinny 10-ounce bottle, which fit perfectly in my detail kit. So I was selling detail kits And because the kits, people got such good results with. Because when they're using the soap, I had the SM Arnold wash mitts.
Yeah.
And I bought them by the bulk. I had, so you wash it and then you dry it. We had SM Arnold, also the water sprites. Remember those? The water sprites? They're still selling them.
Yeah.
So anyway, I put the water sprite in there. Then I put the clay bar in the clay lube. Then we put the polish, and we put the the real stuff, the polish, and then the applicator, the little terry wrapped applicators. This is all pre microfiber.
Pre-microfiber, yeah.
So then diapers for wiping it off, and all this stuff. So the kit had all the stuff in it, and people got such good results because they were able to watch the video, see how it worked,
use the product,
and it was as advertised.
Yeah,
it worked. And if they had a problem that didn't work out, they'd come back and see me the next weekend and be like, "Hey, I didn't get the results with this. I couldn't get these water spots." Mostly it was I couldn't get the water spots off, or I couldn't get the scratch out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Where's the car?
Sense.
Bring it up."
Let's go look at it.
Let's go look at it. And right about then, we started getting into the Porter cable 7424 and things like that. So that's how that started. I'm making a long story even longer, but bottom line, the next thing was Dur Dave. So Dur stuff had been sold.
Oh, okay.
And the guy that was like the financial backer of it, he had a Porsche dealership in San Juan Capistrano. Bill Yates, Porsche, it was Porsche Audi, I think. Then it became Volkswagen later. Porsche Audi, Bill Yates, right on the freeway, major location. He was the financial backer to Dur Stuff. Well, Bill Yates dies, and he leaves his estate in shambles. He didn't have his estate locked down. So basically, everything he owned was sold at the courthouse steps, like a probate sale. So total bummer, right?
Yeah.
So Dur Shiny Stuff was one of the things that was quote unquote owned by Bill Yates. And this guy that had a wheel and tire business in Costa Mesa bought it. He was there to buy some of the tire mounting machines and the balancing machines. Yeah. And you saw this
product line.
It's like what? And it sold for peanuts, sold for pennies and $1. And Dur Dave couldn't buy it. He didn't have the money set aside. So this guy buys it. And, at first he was a nice guy, Armenian guy. Eventually, we just did not see eye to eye.
Fair.
And I said, "Hey, my dad," at this time, my dad's business started to go well. And he says, "Hey, my dad said he'll help me buy this Dur Shiny Stuff business. Would you be interested in selling it to me?" And he goes, "Oh, no, this Dur Stuff business is going great. I can't believe it. It's really going good." And I said, "Yeah, because I buy all the products you guys have in inventory every Friday."
Yeah, you're the only customer.
I'm the main customer.
Technically.
I highly recommend me for being a good customer, but I would like to buy the company. If you don't mind, will you consider it? Absolutely not. I would not consider it.
You're all the eggs in his basket.
I don't think he recognized that. He was just removed enough to know that just the company was doing fine. They were selling way more product now than they ever had. And this is probably 6 months into me selling at the swap meet. So this was still, this was February of 2000. And now, towards the end of the summer of that first year, this guy walks up to me. And you probably heard this story. And if you have, sorry to bore you to death.
No, not
I'm
at
sorry
all.
to bore you. This guy walks up to me. He's got Oakley blades on, Iridium blades. He's got a hat on backwards, heavy set dude, gray hair. And he walks up to me and he's just like, "I cannot afford to put tires on my truck anymore. My fleet is just going to heck in a handbasket. I don't have, I'm at a loss. Do you know how to detail a red truck?" And I said, "Yeah, I think I could detail a red truck." He said, "Well, they're fiberglass, gel coat." And I go,
"Okay,
yeah, I could probably help you out with that." So anyway, I said, "Well, he's at the end of his cigar. He's got a big fat cigar. He's at the end of it. It's like 10 o'clock in the morning. He's also at the end of his 32-ounce beer. Again, 10 o'clock in the morning." So I'm not totally sure that this guy is
that kind of situation.
Yeah, I'm not totally sure. Judging a book by its cover, you're like, this guy's hammered. I don't know what he's talking about. He could be really off his rocker.
Just straight lying to me right now.
Flat out lying to me. So anyway, I says, "Well, if you can come see me, I'd like for you to see these trucks and see, can you help me? Can you help me do this?" Again, God sent this guy. His name's Ron Vogt. So Ron didn't have a business card on him. So he turns my business card over, writes the address down, doesn't even take my card, turns my business card over, writes his address down. Ron Vogt. Comes to me tomorrow morning. It was Sunday, so Monday morning. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. South Central Avenue, Los Angeles, California.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I went to college. That's where I went to USC and had to make payments to them for many, many years after I finished. So I get to their facility, and I cannot believe where I'm at. I'm at the Coca-Cola corporate headquarters.
Oh boy!
And I'm like, red trucks. Yeah, wow. So I walk
Bearing
in.
the lead.
Yeah, I walk in. I'm like looking for Ron Vogt. This guy walks out all clean cut, hair, greased back, and white shirt. That's me. I'm like, wow, Ron, what's up? How you doing, bud? I'm the detailer. Get in. So he gets me in his little Cushman metal cart, like the little utility cart. Yep. Put a pallet on the back and
little gator or whatever, kind of guy.
So he gets me in there, and we're driving around. He's like, "Look at this!" And sure as heck, all the fleet was pretty much oxidized. And then the white vans, so they used the Astro vans and the Aerostar vans, and those were the ones that went and serviced the little like liquor stores and things where you couldn't pull a full-size tractor trailer into. That's what supplied those guys. And you walk up and swipe the van, and boom, you pull up white powder. You have powder. They were white with red vinyl, Coca-Cola in there. So I'm like, wow, yeah, your stuff's really oxidized. It's crazy. And then VP, to be a Coca-Cola VP is not a high bar. The VPs are vice presidents, but then you're basically an area rep.
Okay.
And they have 3 cars: Chevy Lumina, Dodge Intrepids, and Ford Tauruses. Okay. This is 2000.
Yep.
And they were putting them all out in these cars, and they were hammered. These cars were hammered. And that was a time of life where all automotive paint was bad.
Yeah.
They were trying to get waterborne paint and all this stuff. So all cars are bad, but these were especially bad.
They were learning how much clear to put on cars and which ones they wanted to do single stage and which ones were going to get.
Yeah. And they were all
actual clear.
Transitionary.
It was,
Yeah. They were way off by a lot. The cars of that era were bad. They had bad paint. Anyway, so I went and polished. I used a little tough stuff and a little bit of real stuff on a fender of this red truck, and I turned it from pink to dark pink, but I didn't really solve it. And he looked at me and he goes, "You'll figure it out. Don't worry about it." I'm like, "Okay, cool. That's great." So give me a quote. I go, "Great. How many trucks you got?" He said, "Well, I got 3,400.
Sure.
And I go, 3,400 trucks.
Oh.
He's like, yeah, well, cars, trucks, vans, 3,400. I got all the fleet from, Northern California, south, from like the south of like Central Cal, basically Central Cal and down, and then all the fleet in Las Vegas. Okay, let's do it. So I gave him a quote.
What time frame is he expecting this in? Because he's looking at you.
Every 2 years. Because he was painting his trucks every 2 years.
Okay.
So he figured if I get them done every 2 years, we could avoid the painting.
Sure.
Yeah.
So it ends up, we could do it. And, we're polishing, and then we end up rotary buffing these cars. And there's a detailer. His name is Jason Mentis. And he had a business called Ballistic Detailing.
Nice.
This guy has like heavy gauge earrings, crazy spiked hair, tattoos everywhere, ballistic written down his vans. And he was his customer from the swap meet. I go, "Jason, I got the customer. I need some help figuring out I don't know the detail of the big rig. Have you ever done that?" So, "Oh yeah, no problem. Let me show you." Comes out, shows me how to do it. God bless this guy. Totally awesome. Him and his brother both are just this major detailers. And I'm like, I need a trailer with like a pressure washer on, because I got to move this trailer around to where these trucks are. You can't move all the trucks around. You got to the trailer needs to go to the trucks. So he's like, "I got an extra one. Here, take my trailer. Lets me borrow it." It's just, all this stuff just falls into place the way you'd never expect it to. So boom, we get this account, and then come to find out they're using degreaser to wash these trucks. And since they're using degreaser to wash the trucks, it's prematurely oxidizing everything.
Right.
And the name of the guy who did the washing was Great White. It was the washing company. And it's funny, he's a black guy who's just, the guy was awesome. He's super aces. And he had a great business, and he didn't know. But they were, on a fifth wheel. Basically, a fifth wheel has grease on it so that your the trailer will spin on the fifth wheel, so that you can get the trailer to move around.
The gooseneck or whatever.
And all the grease from that splatters up on the back of the cab of the truck, and it's really tough to remove. So instead of using just the degreaser on the back of the cab to get all that grease off, he's washing everything in degreaser.
Oh boy!
Cut the dirt fast. You're like, sure did, man. Sure did.
It stripped everything.
It stripped everything, man. It really did. Yeah. So anyway, we ended up selling Coke. We're selling, Great White, some low pH soap.
Good.
And then so after about 5 years, the trucks weren't wasted anymore.
Yeah.
And they were like, you know what, we're done. Anyway, the Adams, how Adams happened. I'm using their stuff on these, but it's not working. And every night I got a lab. I have a lab to go work at. It's the Coca-Cola plant.
Yeah.
And we start at 4 p.m. and we have to be done and off the premises by 4 a.m. So that's the only time the trucks are stopped, right? Otherwise they're out delivering. So they load them early morning and out they go at 5.
Okay.
So we had to get as many trucks as we get it done between 4 p.m. They all come back from their routes by between 3 and 4. And so we had to get them done as many as possible. We tried to get 10 done a night, 10 full trucks done a night. So, but we were mixing chemicals to do trucks faster and to do trucks in the sun and to do trucks in the night wet air.
Yeah.
Trying to get
a lot of
compound.
moisture.
Yeah, really hard to get compound off when the truck's wet from the night in California.
So this is happening in the Coca-Cola lab?
Yeah.
Wow.
No, this is in I'm
just on the
in the
premises.
parking lot.
Premises,
But
right?
for me, I'm mixing.
So, you're mixing in the parking lot.
I'm mixing
I hear
in the
lab.
parking
I'm
lot.
thinking like, all right, you got a thing set up in there.
I'm going half and half compound and polish because I'm trying to skip a step.
Mm-hmm.
We're compounding all this. We're just destroying these. We're going through pads. We're compounding. So we're half polish, half compound. Nope. 70-30. Nope. 60-40. Close, but it's not drying enough. 60-40 plus a quart of solvent. That makes it flash. That made it dry. Closer.
Yeah.
So we're constantly just adding, and I'm not using real detailing chemicals. I'm using turpentine.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I just need something to make this product dry.
Yeah.
Something to make it flash.
You need a carrier agent.
Otherwise, it just would never dry.
Mm-hmm.
It would never dry, or it would dry too fast and become powder. If it was hot, if it was cold and wet, and you're doing all these year round. So we started mixing these chemicals, and we found some pretty neat ways to make this stuff. I was working with Warner Chemical. Tunch at 3D was my first supplier.
Okay.
And cool. Tunch owned Warner Chemical and then sold it to David Velasco. Anyway, they were supplying me, and I'd go to them and I'd talk with their chemists. I'd be like, and Tony was the chemist. So Tony'd be like, hey, Tunch, how do I do this? I need a chemical that's a little bit like your chemical, but then this other chemical from this other company, I like yours 60%, this one 40%. Yeah. And they try to make me something, and I take it that night to the Coke plant.
Yeah.
And we go out there and use it, and it would be horrible, and then it'd get less horrible, and then it'd be okay, and then it would be good. And then we put it on the table and put an Adams label on it and sell it the weekends at the spot meet.
Nice.
And we kept coming up with a new product. About every 2 weeks, we come out with a new product, and I would try to displace. And then I started coming out with products that were like, we can make something better than the Dur stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy that owned the Dur Stuff company wasn't being agreeable to selling me his company.
Sure.
But I'm like, I think I need to own it because we're really adding value. Let's own it or not, but let's figure it out.
Absolutely.
Anyway, bottom line, he says no. I start replacing the products one a week. And now I get down to one last product. And again, God smiled on us. I went to go pick up our product on Friday, like I always do. I buy all the products that they have. And, within about 2 months, he recognizes that they went from selling a whole lot of stuff to very little stuff, but a lot of two chemicals, the Dur Real stuff and the Dur Shiny stuff. I go there and he says, hey, Adam. Oh, I go see Dur Dave, and Dur Dave goes, Adam, I don't know what to tell you. I can't sell you anything. I go, what? He goes, yeah, I can't sell any products anymore. Jerry says, you got your own stuff. I said, okay. He goes, you better go see him. You better talk to him. So I go over there. Sure enough, he's like, you got your own stuff now. You don't need me anymore.
Okay.
So I'm not selling you any products. And I was like, oh.
That's a choice.
I mean, and this is like 10 cases of each product I would have sold Saturday and Sunday.
Sure.
Yeah.
And if I show up at the swap meet without it,
you're not going to sell it.
Well, and I have customers that are going to be let down.
Yeah.
They're going to be disappointed. And I was like more concerned than anything than letting down the customers. I don't want to do that. And talk about God smiling on us. That weekend rained both days as hard as you can imagine. We were able to get the labels printed the next week. I had the chemicals already tuned up. Granitize was the company that made that chemical, Granitize. And they made the They made the dirt shiny stuff, which is brilliance, Adam's brilliance, and then it ended up being Brilliant Glaze. And we ended up A-OK, all the way our own. And Adam's polish is 100% and no more. And then they fired Dave and just closed the company down. They had the California Air Resource Board. Mm-hmm. They're definitely a rough.
Dylan mentioned something about VOCs.
The reason that we moved to Colorado, because they were coming through our product line and they were just giving us little love letters saying, you can't sell this anymore. You can't sell that anymore. Every day or every week or every month, we'd get a new product that we can no longer sell.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, this is not working. So we moved. And also as we got e-commerce started, we recognized that shipping to the East Coast from California was not really, people got mad waiting for it.
Yeah, sure. Takes a while.
People wanted their stuff faster. So
I'm curious though, how you landed on Colorado. Like what led to that being the place you chose to go? Like compared to any other spot,
totally.
That's kind of middle of the country that you could then more easily ship around. Why Colorado?
My sister went to CU Boulder.
Okay.
And back before it was just, crazy lib, insanity, it was really a great town. It was just a great town, and close to the mountains and beautiful. Anyway, my sister went there. I love being there. I love Boulder. It's beautiful. The Flatiron Mountains are there. It's in a great place.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
It's also a major shipping hub. The other possibility was Memphis, but Memphis is not really as great of a place to live.
Gotcha.
Yeah. That would have been pretty central too. But Denver, Boulder, was 2 days to California, 3 days to New Jersey or the East Coast.
Yeah.
So that was pretty good.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, that was a good spot. So, so that's why we chose it.
I was just curious. So I thought maybe it'd be a personal connection, and sure enough, that was kind of the link.
Plus, there was another thing that really made it valuable, and that was Roman Glemba and Bob Blanick, who owned B&B Blending.
Oh, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
So B&B Blending was there.
Right.
And Roman, I don't know if you guys know Roman, but Roman is do you guys ever met Roman?
I know Roman. Yeah.
Roman's awesome. Bob, just so sturdy, just wonderful human beings. And they became our chemical supplier. And that was, shipping chemicals is very expensive,
of course.
So heavy. You're paying a lot of money for shipping. A lot of water. No, you're shipping water. Mm-hmm. So we recognized that was going to be a really helpful thing there. So we were able to use them as our new chemical supplier. They slowly knocked off all the chemicals that we were buying from different suppliers, Warner Chemical, some from 3D. We had a host of different suppliers. So that really was a good place.
Super cool.
And it just gave us the ability to ship efficiently.
Yeah.
To ship,
it makes perfect sense.
Yeah. It was a better place to live and have a chemical company because CARB wasn't entirely up our.
There's no Colorado Air Resources Board there.
No, there will be soon. Watch this. There will be soon. They're following.
Wait a minute.
Right.
We're in Idaho, so it's gonna take a little longer here.
I pray you're right.
So now you're into Adams. Now it's the company itself. It's doing its thing.
Yeah.
Because we're kind of on the end now. Come over to the mountain. Over the mountain, right? So now you are still figurehead at Adams.
Yeah.
You're still the face of the company. They still have you in all the videos and stuff. But you moved to Boise, Idaho.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard this guy's the rag company. I knew they were onto something there.
Right? Yeah.
I knew you guys were onto something. I just wanted to get close to the greatness.
Oh,
so boom.
Too kind.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We took on a new majority owner of the company in 2020. Mm-hmm. I wanted to spend time with my kids, and ever since, so we became the licensed car care products of
GM,
General Motors.
Mm-hmm.
It's very cool.
That was cool, and that was way back. And first we were the official car care products of Corvette, mm-hmm. and then it became General Motors. But that was a lot of travel.
Yeah.
And traveling to go do trainings at all these different dealership groups and things. And like our most successful dealership group, the guys that sold more than anyone was Rick Hendrick and Hendrick Motorsports out of North Carolina, and all of his dealerships up and down. They have 106 or 108 dealerships.
Yeah.
I mean, I could be gone permanently and be training, and it's always worth it because they always place massive orders. They put a detail bag in every car they sell we have their logo embroidered on it. It's pretty cool. They're just a great customer, and they love excellence. And anyway, I was drawn to that. I really like the way Rick Hendrick works. The way he runs his organization is first class. So I was gone a lot.
Yeah.
And it became a penalty because I have 3 kids. And it became, I was missing a lot of the games, missing a lot of stuff. So I said, you know what, I need to be a lot more present than I have been. So I put a number on by 50, I want to be in a position where I don't have to work so much. And I took on a business partner in 2016, Derek Johnson, who's just like this. It's like the business whisperer, just a guy who was really, really sharp, very, very bright. And we went from just a small company to a much, much bigger company very fast. Very humbling that I was only able to get it to a certain point, and then all of a sudden, with a partner, massive, 10x it or something, even more than that. Went from 7 or 8 million to 50 million in 3 years.
Jeez.
And that was just crazy.
Still your name on the bottle.
Still my name on the bottle, yeah. So I feel blessed about that. So anyway, it was a great deal, and we ended up finding a new majority owner, and they have taken my need to be in the building all the time out. And come to find out, I'm a rather horrible CEO. Yeah, that's true. I'm decent at detailing. I'm good at sales. But as a CEO, I do not shine. That is not my...
Hey, we all know where we're good at and we're not.
Yep.
So
I can clean things, though.
Yep.
I can correct paint. I can do stuff like that.
You got it, and then some.
That's it. So, yeah. So anyway, we got to this point, and there's so much more. I'm leaving out, of course, because there's no way you want to hear the story. It's just too long. But
no. Well, I'll have to do a part 2.
But is your wife an Idaho girl?
Right.
My wife's from Idaho. My wife's from Twin Falls.
Okay.
Twin Falls. And I like it here. We spend a lot of time of the summer up in McCall, Idaho,
Beautiful.
And it's beautiful up there. We love it there. And that's great. Up on the lake, just screwing around. We're so blessed. And then we get the kids. Our youngest is 11. When he's done with high school, I would imagine that we will spend more time in the winter down in Scottsdale, Arizona.
There you go.
Yeah, interesting. Okay.
We love it down there.
Yep.
We have a house down there that we Airbnb. In fact, you'll see a lot of the videos. That's our house. That's a Airbnb house. We bought this house that was in shambles, the worst, nastiest house ever, and turned it around. But anyway, so we love it down there, and I love 65 to 75 degree winters. That's I like that. And I could see, spending summer still up in McCall.
Yeah, I was going to say, I wouldn't be spending summers in Arizona, but maybe that's just me personally.
Yeah, no, you won't spend summers there. Well, it's like here now. It's been 108 to 111.
Not so pleasant.
Week and a half, it's going to be like Arizona.
That's where McCall is the move.
That's right.
It saves you a few degrees. You're a lot better off that way. But I get being down in Arizona, you're close to some rather prominent auctions and things, interesting stuff going on there. Yeah. There's a lot of growth as well.
There is.
So now you've bought a car wash.
Yeah.
Too,
yeah, that's one thing I really
just down the street.
Yeah. So I love car washes.
Yeah.
In fact, I love washing cars more than any other part of car care.
Yeah, me too.
I just love washing cars.
It's relaxing.
It's total therapy.
Yeah. I'd rather wash than detail.
Yeah. So I love that. And I always go to car washes, but I used to go to the Pay and Spray.
Sure.
And the Pay and Spray that's available, that was the one I always used, became available. So I had three bays of Pay and Sprays.
The one up here.
Yeah. Yep.
I lived across the street from there. I grew up since
just down the
in
street,
a house just down the street from it. So I watched that corner, and when the first car wash went up, and then it changed ownership, and through a few turns, but I think you're going to put the nicest setup they've ever seen ever.
Oh, we are.
I'm fully.
And I really hope that we break even. I really hope we do.
That's the hard part.
Yeah, I hope it's going to be nice. But it was run really poorly.
Sure.
It was run badly.
I saw it. I could see the state of things, and it was like, man, this is a prime location. So for those who aren't familiar with the area, I totally understand. It's in a spot that hits you right on the road as you're about to leave town for some of the more vacation-y areas further north. McCall, for example, that kind of thing. Cars get real dirty traveling between there and here in Boise. Amen. So there's a lot of opportunities. I mean, you see that car wash in the corner, it's pretty appealing if you're heading home. I mean, it's one of the last spots.
And there's more houses out there now, too.
They're built now.
20 years ago, there wasn't. Yeah.
So I'm really curious, what is going into, how much can you tell us about it, first of all? Because I'm curious about the some of the specific aspects.
So we're featuring all Adam's products.
Naturally.
So, and right now we have a mobile van on the road. You guys seen our mobile van?
Enzo's hand wash.
Yeah. Enzo's hand wash. So we got our mobile van, it's a Ford all-wheel drive Ford Transit van rolling around on gold method wheels and
can't miss it.
Black, red, and white, and KO2s. Yeah. So it's going to go year round. Anyway, we've got that going. So we're training our crew doing that. My wife and I have a heart for foster kids, these kids that end up being born into situations that just stink. So we're going to be pulling kids that are aging out of foster care. We're pulling those kids in to train them some life skills, how to communicate with your employer, how to communicate with other people, how to show up on time. So we're going to have some grace there. And try to help some of these kids there's an organization that we're very much involved with called Freedom Youth Foundation, FYF, and freedomyouthfoundation.org is an organization that we just have a ton of respect for, and we love them. So we've been helping that organization help kids.
Nice.
And it's in the Bible.
Yeah.
Help widows, help orphans. Right. It's like doesn't take someone who's really, real creative to help those groups. So anyway, so we're doing that. And then we're also helping veterans. So we're working with a couple of veterans groups, and vets that come out of deployment just end up a little bit tweaked out. You're not coming back to a normal, you can't just come back and just go into a normal job. Yeah. I mean, you just saw some horrible things. You might've done some horrible things that you were paid to do. And bottom line, you come back and therapy in detailing is a real deal. It's one of the things in life that you can really kind of zone out and be good at.
For sure.
And so, Adams has the Shine Academies, and we have one at our store in Scottsdale, one at our store in Denver, and we have one at our store in Anaheim. So we're doing another one here, and we're training guys and we're training girls, and we're helping these people. And the Enzo's my son's name, Enzo. It's also an Italian cafe. So Enzo Ferrari, when you think of a single name and you make it go with cars, Enzo's probably the most notable car guy name. And I'm Italian, I speak Italian. I love Italian stuff. So our car wash is going to do espresso, gelato, and panini. So we're going to have breakfast sandwiches, lunch stuff.
Yeah.
Then we'll have ice cream in the afternoons. We'll do all that stuff. And basically, in a full coffee bar. So it's nice.
Naturally.
You're going to get out of the car. You're going to be on a flat conveyor. The conveyor's all the way flat, not the kind that pushes a little ball behind your tire and rolls you through, and your wheels better be, narrower than 8 inches.
And if they're not, y'all great.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, that straightening out is rough.
Oh, it's hurt. It's hurting, and so it's going to be a flat 12-foot wide conveyor. You can stand on it. The car's stopped. We can thoroughly clean the wheels all the way to the back. Full hand wash. The only equipment's going to be a foaming and then rinsing, and then, like a drying, like detail spray or something like that, ceramic being sprayed on. So we're going to be able to be a complete hand wash and then express detailing on site. We have two detail bays, 2 of the 3 bays we're turning into full detailing.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
Yeah. And it's all kind of a, it looks like an Adams Polish showroom, if you're in our van or up there, it's pretty clean, but it's just something that I want.
Yeah.
I want a killer place to go and have my car washed. And while I'm doing it, I want to be productive. So we have so far 3 different internet services there.
Okay.
So 3 different places to set up your, to jump on the Wi-Fi. So we've got Starlink, T-Mobile, and then whatever the Sparklight or whatever that's the one. Yeah. The wire, the fiber optic.
Yeah.
So anyway, so you're going to be able to be extremely productive while you're there. You're going to have great, very fast Wi-Fi, and you're going to be able to get your car really clean very, very thoroughly. And we're going to try like heck to sell you a monthly package. We're going to try like heck to tell you that your car would look so much better if it was clayed, polished, and ceramic coated. Yep. And we're going to offer to do it in timely fashion. And we're not going to be doing like $1,000, $5,000, $10,000 full body wraps. We're going to be specializing in doing express detailing and
convenience.
Convenience.
So to button this all up and to bring this back full circle, Dylan Von Kleist works for Auto Wash now. And one of the things that he has been preaching and talking about, bridging that gap between the car wash industry and the detail industry. And he has said, And this is something that I've actually told my own dentists and hygienists. We do the same thing. Washing cars is like brushing your teeth. You still need to brush your teeth. People still need to wash their car. Whether that's at home with a bucket and your pressure washer and that therapy, or being able to just run it through an automatic car wash or a full service, whatever. You still need, every once in a while, you still need to get that car detailed. You still need to go in for your 6-month actual teeth detail, right?
Scrape off
get
all
that
the
real
coffee
clean
and polish and all that stuff. Yeah.
Or you got to have a little reconstructive stuff. Maybe you got to get a cap, a crown, a cavity filled. Maybe that's your PDR, your tint, your extra, paint correction, ceramic coating. Those are your heavier services. Yep. And what you're doing is going right back to creating that ability to get people in and out. They find that passion or love for their car, because a lot of people have it and they want to wash their car and they want to clean it, but maybe they just don't have the skill set. They don't know how to do it, but they want to take care of it in the best way possible.
Yeah. They don't have the driveway. They don't have the spot. And I think that, and they get bad results. Mm-hmm. Almost always. You know what people do? This is what people do that screws them up. And my business partner, I have a business partner in Enzo's, and we laugh about this. His name's Tony D'Amato.
Yep.
You know Tony?
Tony's a good guy. I got to meet him the other day.
Tony's amazing. He ran all the events for McGuire's for 20 years. So I've known him forever. We're always at the same car shows. And he became available, and he's now my partner in this car wash. And he's such a pleasure to work with. Total man of God, just a great guy too. And we were just talking about this. The results that people get washing their own car are so frequently poor that they throw in the towel. They say, "Screw it! I'm just going to go get the membership to the crappy car wash, which scratches their cars, which has those. You're hearing that thing, and you're like, maybe it's not hurting. Like, yeah, right.
It's punishing.
I'm like, it's punishing your car. It's destroying your car, but." People get bad results because what they do is the most common thing. Everyone gets in their car, backs it out of their garage into their driveway. They find the hose. They start rinsing all the dirt off the car, thinking, I'm washing my car. And then they stop, and then they start looking around for their bucket. And they're like, I wonder where my bucket is.
And the water dries.
Yeah. Water's drying and spotting their car. And then they start looking for a bucket. And they start looking for a wash pad. Do I even have car soap? What am I going to dry this car with? None of that stuff has been set up.
Beach towel.
But that process is simple. But if you don't do it and you're just new, then you're going to screw it up. And your results are going to, now all of a sudden you're trying to look out your windshield and you just see tons of water spots everywhere. And your wheels and tires never got cleaned because you never had any products to clean them.
Actually break all that stuff off.
Yeah. It doesn't do it. And you're using a garden hose. Like, people don't know what they don't know. And us teaching people that, listen, before you ever put water on your car, clean all 4 of your wheels and tires first, please. Please know where your wash bucket is before you put water on the car. Make sure it's prepped. Make sure your wash bucket has soap in it and your rinses, you've already rinsed out your wash mitts. Where's your drying towels? Are they clean? Are they there? Where are you going to pull the car when you're done washing it? Are you going to pull it back in the garage? Did your kid leave their bike laying down in there? Is there anything else in the way that you should move around? Because as soon as you have water on that car, so people get bad results washing their own car. The other thing is, not everyone is passionate about cleaning their own car.
Right.
Like me, I come back from any car show.
Yeah.
I've been demonstrating products nonstop for 5 days. I just want to come home and wash my car.
Yeah.
You know?
And I'm guilty. I'm one of those people. I absolutely love cars, Mr. Car Encyclopedia, all those things. But when it comes to cleaning it, these guys know I'm the worst. I just go to a touchless car wash because that part of my brain is like, I don't want them beating up. But at the same time, I'm also not the car wash guy. And that's why I love being part of this, because I learned so much.
He's got all the knowledge
to it.
Yeah.
I've got the knowledge. Yeah. I'm just not necessarily the best guy to apply it myself.
Yeah. So, I like to say that, some people love golf.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Some people just love to garden.
Sure.
Yep. Some people love hunting. People crochet. I mean, there's just people build toy models. People zone out and get their therapy in so many thousands of different ways.
Of course.
If you want me to zone out and get my therapy, it's not going to be with gardening. Like, I just don't enjoy that.
Sure.
I play golf. I lose a tremendous amount of golf balls. I have fun, but I definitely don't come off the golf course feeling
refreshed,
soothed,
or reset.
Yeah. See, the washing the car for me is something that when you're done, you have something wonderful. I have a clean car, which I have a ton of pride, and I really enjoy driving a clean car. So you get instant gratification from that. But again, it's not for everyone.
Right.
That's why I feel that offering the service end of it is so valuable, because 85% of people are like you.
I'd be a customer.
You'd be a customer.
Absolutely, I would.
You're going to be a person that doesn't get the therapy out of cleaning your own car. You're a person who is perfectly fine paying someone to do it.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I'm definitely like a target customer where I know enough to know this is the right option.
Yeah.
But I'm not necessarily inclined to do it myself. And yeah, I would rather be reading or doing something, a different kind of activity to kind of like take my mind off, go zen, whatever.
Well, what most people don't realize is Jeff Hennon of the Rag Company, he is a green thumb.
Yes. Oh, he is absolutely.
That man lives in dirt and gardening, and that is where he finds his joy.
And I got the love he has for that, but I do not have the green thumb. Plants die when I'm in charge.
We have brown thumbs. We have very brown thumbs in my house. Yeah. That's funny. That's good to know. Yeah. Well, but any I feel bad for people that don't have a passion, like zero, like they just aren't excited about anything. You got to find something to get excited about. I feel blessed that for me it was cleaning cars, and now we're creating a venue that I think this whole country doesn't have a great place to go get your car washed. We want our goal, Tony and I, our plan is to do 50 car washes in 10 years.
Wow.
Which is,
it's healthy.
It's a significant undertaking. We're going to need some financing. We're going to need some big guns to do it. But the country needs to have a nationwide chain of car washes offering excellence, because it just doesn't exist right now. They're all the automated things. You walk up, okay, you want the tire shine and the stuff or not? It's like no one's working. You get out, you do your own wipe down. You recognize that you're sort of the B pillars, the black part between your driver's and passenger's windows are just scratched to death as soon as you drive it through. The automated washes, your wheels are scuffed, or the tire shine that they throw on with that machine is just so much better, not at all.
The wheel wells, the gap in between your mirror and the pillars, like you're saying, that kind of stuff gets totally overlooked.
It doesn't get washed.
Get really touched in a car wash.
I will say that I've not seen an automated car wash produce a good result, let alone an excellent result.
Sure.
They just don't. It's just the technology might exist. It's just not happening in a huge way. And so if the touchless washes and everything else, still, you have to get out and do a lot of the work yourself. So if you want excellence, it's going to be, you need a human being to wipe out those door jams.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, we need to educate these people and get their cars, get them at least clayed, one-step polished, and ceramic coated. They don't need to be perfect.
No.
Getting a black, like a Yukon XL, you got this big Yukon or a dually.
Folks drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Jeff drives, right?
Yeah.
That's a lot of car.
Yeah.
And getting every inch of it perfect is thousands of hours. It's hundreds of hours to get a flawless outcome.
Sure.
At least dozens of hours, right? But the owner of that car doesn't care.
Yeah.
The owner of that car this is not a show car they're competing for in a car show. This is a daily driver. They want that car to look good.
Yeah.
We want to be the company that provides a detail that is affordable and to get your car so that you're looking better than 97% of all the cars on the road.
Yeah.
And it's going to be reasonable to maintain. The outcome's going to be very consistent because the ceramic coatings that are out there now are so awesome that it makes the car washing and drying so much easier. Sure. The finished outlook is so much better. So people that complain about the car washes not being good, their car needs to be detailed.
Yeah.
There's some opportunity there.
There is. So I hope that we can educate, as we did with Adam's Polishes, educating people with detailing kits and things, giving them those. We hope to educate them in the same way, Tony and I, through Enzo's Hand Wash and Detail, educate people on what it takes to make your car come out of that wash looking absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Versus just clean. A clean version of the undetailed car is not always amazing.
You on your bike, throw in your papers, and the old lady coming out, and you recognize there's a need.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it.
Dude, thank you for being here.
To the beginning, yes.
Oh, it's such a
Look at that.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure, guys.
No, seriously, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with us. And you may have felt like you told the story a million times. I totally understand, but I also feel like there's, like we said, there's always someone who it's new for.
Yeah.
And just giving them that opportunity to hear something. And I feel like we got some new details out of it that maybe. we hadn't heard before. At least I know I hadn't heard some particular
I hope so. Otherwise, I bored you again.
No, absolutely. I'm so excited for people to give their feedback on this. So please tell us in the comments below what you thought of the experience. And Adam, where can people find you, find your products, etc.? Give it a shot. Well, this is your opportunity.
Well, the Adams polishes are available, I think, in most auto parts stores now.
Yeah.
I think that we're pretty much all over now. So that's a blessing. And then we're Amazon store is big. The Amazon store is, if you want your stuff quick, Amazon is the way to make it happen because, of course, our direct-to-consumer adamspolishes.com site is great. And then if you want to get products used on your car, enzoshandwash.com. And Enzo's Hand Wash and Detail is going to be coming to Boise, right on the border of Boise and Eagle.
There you go.
This fall. So this fall, we're going to do something good. And you know what? We're about to learn a lot. I'm not here to say, we're just going to knock it out of the park. We are going to be humble. We are going to pray for God's grace to this business so we can help a lot of people. We can help the kids that are working there. We can help people that want to drive around looking good. And if we listen to the customer and we tweak our product and our service to deliver as the customers want, then I think that we're going to be successful. And I think that we can help a lot of people across the country. And I think that I think that if we continue this model, I think God's going to smile on it. I think it's going to end up being something that will be fruitful.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, given some time, I'd definitely like to have you back here talking about the experience that you've had with the car wash once things have been running. You can tell us where there's ups, there's downs, anything in between. I'd be really curious to hear about that, and I'm sure these folks would too. So on that note, again, Adam, thank you so much for your time, and you have yourself a great afternoon.
Thank you. I'm honored, guys. I really am honored to be here
Thanks
with you.
for being here.
Yeah, pleasure.
Wow. All right. So we just got back from
real talk,
an awesome, down to earth, real chill talk. Like I felt like the whole time we were talking with Adam, maybe just some of these interviews, you kind of feel like you got to dress it up. You got to heighten the sensation a little bit of the way you speak, the way you interact. But with that, it just kind of brings you not down like, oh, I'm bummed out, but like down like chill, just cool, kind of SoCal kind of vibe. And I definitely got that from our conversation. I felt like I learned some new things that I had not heard in his retelling of this story prior. But we also found ways to kind of intersect it with the Dylan Von Kleist chat we did in the other episode.
Well, and what I loved was his process was very organic. Mm-hmm. Right?
It was not.
It wasn't, I'm here to start a brand and this is what I'm going to do. Or you see, and I don't know if I see that now because I've been in it for so long, but I see some detailers who get started and then they instantly build their own brand or try to build their own brand. And
it's like a math equation they're trying to solve.
It doesn't always work. And what I love about Adam's story is he learned how to detail.
Yeah.
In a very self-taught way where a lot of us old guys in the industry, that was pretty much who we had, or we had a person that knew a little bit more than us and could help us. But there were no schools, there were no online classes, there were no videos, there weren't anything like that. You just had to learn. And so him talking about the metal polish, working on it, and you asking that question, him like, what? It's basically what was on the back of the directions.
Yeah, I wanted
seeing
to
from maybe
know
his mom
where that came from,
doing it and cleaning the silverware or the pots and pans or whatever, right? Like that's an old school trait.
Yeah.
But to see how he started in that and then continued to work, but how he problem solved the whole time in every step of the way, he problem solved on what he could do better or what he could do. And it goes right from that first story all the way literally to that last story. There's a similarity through the whole line.
And I felt it extremely relatable because of, for right or for wrong, I'm just letting a little too much out here. I care too much about what other people think a lot of the time. Yeah. So I'll have that kind of empathetic response to things. But I liked hearing that his story, it all started as a form of customer service for the lady picking up her newspaper, 100%. That kind of thing. I loved hearing that because it really, just like I was hoping, gave kind of new insight, new perspective into how he navigated his whole experience. Becoming a brand, doing all that stuff. It all started with, how can I just, even on a small scale, make this person's experience better?
Yeah.
And it's, a lot of people will say that stuff, but it's almost like they're going through the motions. They're just saying it because I know people expect to hear that. But with him, I really felt that. I really actually understood it to be something that was like, deep inside, he had that need to like make the experience better for somebody.
Yeah.
And it all built off that. So I really enjoyed hearing that.
No, I did too. And it's so fun. And we, you guys hear it all the time. We lovingly call him Uncle Adam because he does just stop by, say what up, how you guys doing, what's going on, and then, off to the races again. Yeah. But it's, it has been one of the funnest things in the last few years since he's moved and relocated to Boise. To be able to hang out with him. We've been able to go to dinner with him on multiple occasions. We've been able to go, he's brought lunch here. He's shown up and surprised us with lunches.
Out of the blue.
Yeah, out of the blue, just because he likes hanging out here. And so super cool to have him in and such a thrill. And I cannot thank him enough for being here and telling that story for you guys at home to be able to listen to that and enjoy. Maybe you're in your shop, maybe you're working, maybe you're driving. And hopefully you got something out of it, because that's what I love and what I think is so cool is we get to hear all these stories from all these different folks, and you get to see how each person, so far, even just with like Dylan and Alan, how they came to it.
Yeah.
And how Adam has come to it. And
it's not a straight line. Everybody has their zigs and zags.
Adam could have easily just stuck into bicycle building.
He could have just
and cycling there. And found that as his passion and stayed and never went to the detailing section.
I didn't know about the real estate thing. That was kind of
or
fun
the real estate. What if he had been successful in his cold calling?
He could have been like, Adam Pitale, master commercial real estate dude.
Right.
Instead, just totally different kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or he could just be hanging out at like middle management at one of those places forever, but it doesn't strike me as the type of guy to just stay there and do that.
Yeah.
It's fascinating to hear the path people take. But
I think it's super cool. And can't wait.
Yeah. So on that note, I do want to say I'm looking forward to potentially being a customer at his car wash when it opens, because I want to see what that experience is like. And if it's truly different from like what other car washes are doing, because we have a lot of those tunnel places. I'm more guilty of going to like the Chevron station has like the, touchless drive through kind of deal. And it's real basic, but it does the job if you've been on a long trip and you got bugs all over and you're not feeling like crawling around the car to scrape everything off. You get the extras that it misses, but the fact is, touchless car wash is going to miss some stuff. So I'm looking forward to what they bring to the table that's different.
Yeah.
And just seeing what they do.
Agreed.
So I would like to have him back in here when he has a chance to kind of speak about his experience, because I feel like he's going to be pretty transparent about it. He's not going to hold back. He's not going to hide the bad if there is any. And he seems like he's up for
I was
having
there.
a real talk.
I was actually on site with him eating at the Mexican restaurant 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And 3 weeks ago. And we were like, you want to show us? And he's like, dude, there's nothing. It's just a shell right now. They've torn everything out.
Yeah.
He goes, but I really want to take you guys through once we start getting some actual progress and getting the thing built. And so I'm really excited. I jokingly told him about how I got pulled over when I was 17 right across the street when all that was fields and just a stinker station.
It was.
And it was the old 55. It wasn't the new 55.
Right, yeah, where it eventually got moved.
Yeah, but, told him about listening to Meatloaf for the ponytail in a 1980 Corvette, T-tops down.
Yes, sir.
Doing 93 in a 55. So it's good times. Speedometer not working.
Smog chuck vet took a little work to get it up to that.
No, that thing was awesome.
Oh, it must have
I love that
done
car.
some work on
my Uncle
then.
Bruce's.
Okay.
Still has it. It's an awesome vet. So
nice.
Anyway.
All right. Well, I feel like you guys hopefully got something out of it. I know I personally did. I feel like Levi did. We enjoyed it, and we're looking forward to sharing more and more of these stories with you guys. I just think this is a fun new opportunity, a new way to do this. And you guys have so far shown that you like it. So as long as you continue to show that, write in the comments below people you'd like to see on here in the future, or just like insights that you picked up. We want to hear like what you got out of it too. So please tell us in the comments on Spotify or on YouTube. We're all ears. We want to hear what you have to say. So on that note, thanks again for being my wingman.
Yeah, man.
I'm your wingman. We're going through these and having great chats. So yeah, guys, take care, and we'll see you on the next one.
See ya.